A jammed-packed show for you today. We will talk some Alliance of American Football. We'll get into some of the Browns' defense. We'll also talk March Madness and some tournament time with a bracketology expert. But we begin with the Indians. Trevor Bauer won his arbitration case. He will get $13 million this year instead of the $11 million the Indians were offering. That's not a big surprise. But Bauer made some headlines when he referred to character assassination in the last 10-minute rebuttal period of the arbitration hearing. It wasn't the Indians' representatives that were doing it. It was the Labor Relations Board, but it still created a little bit of a mess for Trevor Bauer yesterday.
I've already talked to Chris and Cherney about it to clarify that I'm not trying to take any shots at him or anything. I appreciate what the time and stuff that they've put in, and they assured me that, like, on their side, they requested that not be in there, and they requested
would not be in there?
Just the intent to, like, look, I said what I said, and it's out there. Like, and it's fair game. I think just the way that it was presented, with the intent to demean my character, was a bad play in an intellectual realm. But the team representatives have made it clear that they didn't want the case to go that way, and like I said earlier, I thought it was clear earlier that it wasn't them that was putting these arguments forward. I apparently was not clear about that, but.
Well, and that, in fact, is why the Indians had not gone to arbitration for about 10 years until they went back in 2011 and 2014. 1991 was the last time before that. Let's welcome in Joe Noga from cleveland.com studios in downtown Cleveland. Joe, just a reaction to Trevor Bauer and having to address the media a couple of times after that arbitration statement about character assassination.
Well, and that's not the first time, Dave, that we've seen Trevor Bauer have to come back and explain his comments again to the media and have another session after that. Last year, after the injury and his situation was explained, stories came out. He didn't like the way that he was represented in the media after that and had to have another session explaining the explanation. More than any other player on the Indians roster, Trevor Bauer is acutely aware of how he is represented in the media and his own role in that. And so he likes to take charge of that. And more than anything, that last 10 minutes of that rebuttal session in the arbitration hearing, that's what Trevor Bauer has been looking forward to all year. If you know anything about Trevor Bauer, that 10-minute session where he gets to hear what other people think about him is the whole reason he wanted to go to arbitration, and will go to arbitration again next year.
Well, and, he's been the subject, along with Corey Kluber, of trade rumors, and Terry Francona was asked, did he talk to Kluber and Bauer about being the subject of trade rumors pretty much all off season?
You know what? I think players are more suited to things like that now than maybe when I was a player, because they're used to social media and you just can't stop all. If you called every time there's a rumor, I'd have to get 2 phones, 3 phones. I think they're smart enough. In fact, I know they are. I think they're smart enough to know that teams are going to call us about them because they're really good. And we have no intention of getting worse as a team. And we know that our starting pitching, that's where it starts. So, again, I guess I didn't really ever think they were going to be traded. That's all. I didn't really, if I was another team, I'd have called too.
And, Joe, Terry Francona may not think that they were going to be traded, but when you look at Trevor Bauer, he's eligible for arbitration again. He said in that media session, the first one, that he looked forward to setting the record for an arbitration settlement next year. It's a guy, he said he's not signing a multi-year deal ever. He's going to bet on himself. He could get $20, $25 million if he has another kind of year like he did this past season for the Indians in arbitration.
Absolutely. He wants to be paid on the value of his work from the previous season, and if you look at that, according to Trevor Bauer, it's in the $30 million range. If he were a free agent right now, that's what he would be making, and it's kind of hard to argue with him. Up until the end of last season when he got hurt, he was in the driver's seat for the AL Cy Young Award. Trevor Bauer, the reasons Trevor Bauer is going to go year to year have more to do with him wanting to change the system and sort of be seen as sort of a bellwether, a leader in that sort of regard. He wants to change the way that Major League Baseball addresses its arbitration and free agent salary structure.
And he is a guy that is acutely aware of the whole system, and he has thought this out. But I think he's pricing himself out of the Indians' budget. Let's take a look at some projections, some steamer projections from Fangraphs. These are batting average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage. And when you look at these numbers, there is only two people that are projected to hit over 251 for the Indians. And that is it's a challenge. Without question, as good as their pitching is, this offense, if you don't do something to it, is going to be challenged to win the games that they think they're going to win.
And the way to add to that offense would be to deal from a source of power that you have, and that's your starting rotation. And Trevor Bauer, like you said, is going to be that guy who they know they're not going to be able to re-sign. At least with Corey Kluber, you know you've got him locked up for another couple of seasons, and you know what you're going to be paying him. There's no change in that. Bauer is going to have that sort of salary fluctuation that's going to depend on his time, his performance. Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez ranked in the top 10, both of them by Major League Baseball Network. They're top 100 players right now. Francisco Lindor came in at number 4. So if you're looking at where you're going to have to allocate your resources at some point, Francisco Lindor is going to have to enter into that conversation. And if you're already paying Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber, there's not going to be much left in the cupboard to go around.
Joe Noga, we appreciate it. From downtown Cleveland at the cleveland.com studios, talking about the Indians and their roster along with Trevor Bauer. A name to keep an eye on as the Indians move forward, Adam Jones. Reports are he wants multiple years, but the number may be coming down into what the Indians can do, and Adam Jones would do wonders for the Indians lineup. You slot him in, and it looks a whole lot better in the middle of that order.